and what brought him there, and there's the different parts of the pasuk indicating different inyanim. Plus, we were talking about the dafke through Haidas Yisroi. There was the whole hamshach of Matan Torah, and alongside with that, we had to understand how does all this have to do with Matan Torah? What's the uniqueness of Matan Torah? Torah existed prior to the world and in the world, and people learned Torah even beforehand. So what's so special about Matan Torah that needed to have Yisro's thanks, like the Zohar said, and only then was the Torah given? So we're holding line 9, third page of the copy, page Tazai. But the idea behind this is, it's known before Matan Torah, there was the decree that those above, the spiritual, should not descend down here below to the physical, and those below the physical should not ascend to the spiritual. Or Matan Torah, this by the giving of the Torah, this decree was nullified. Why was this so? What enabled this crossover? What enabled a possibility that there should be a bridge between these two opposites of Elyon and Tachten? Before Matan Torah was only the revelation part of Torah. Like Torah is likened to light. Light is the idea of revelation. And because it's only revelation, it was limited to be that the spiritual should remain spiritual and the physical should remain physical, and it cannot be joined together. But the novelty and uniqueness of the giving of the Torah is the idea of Hashem's very essence that's beyond all revelations came down. The level of He places His hiding place in darkness, meaning it's a darkness shows that's beyond revelations. That Hashem Himself is found in the place that's not Giluyim, that's not revelations. When you're dealing with Hashem's essence, so then it could bridge even the two opposites of Elyonim and Tachtonim. So now the Rebbe is going to explain this concept. Line 17. The explanation of this matter will be understood. It was explained previously in the previous Mamorim. Like we said, this is our hemshech to the Maimer of Legani, Rosh Hashanah, the Tchilas Kolai Seidrish Talshlas Haisai Deat Tzimtzum, that the beginning of the entire chain order of descent of the worlds was through the Tzimtzum. Void, in addition to that, Shagama Urshal Ifnat Tzimtzum, Hine Bishviloi, Hayatzarech Lias, Gamkininat Tzimtzum. Even for the light that was before the Tzimtzum, you needed to have a Tzimtzum to be able to get to that light that filled the entire place, that didn't allow for the worlds and need to have a Tzimtzum. Va'adin to such a degree, Shagam Ha'oidnin Hachir Rishon, top of the next page, even the most first idea and concept, Miyad La'achrei Atzmusim Husis Baruch V'yachol, immediately after Hashem's very essence, metaphorically speaking, as much as possible to even use these terms in regards to Atzmus, that there had to be like a transition from Atzmus to something else. So whatever the first stage was immediately after Atzmus, it came down also through the Tzimtzum. This is the point that we were talking about in the previous two Mamorim. This is what Chazal said. Before the world was created, there was only Him and His name. What does that mean? The Him is Hashem's very essence. His name is a level of a revelation already. Just like by us, our name is something that we use to be able to interact with other people. The only way people can interact with us is when I have a name. If I don't have a name, they can't call me, they can't contact me, etc., etc. The same thing, the first level of revelation of Hashem is called Shmai, and that's who Shmai Belvad, that there was only Him and His light. So even over there, the Rebbe says, the Gam, he says in line 5, Kadeshi Inyan Hu Shmai Belvad, so it should be able to be the level of it. It was only Him and His name. So there has to be the idea of the constriction, the limitation that can transition from Hu to the level of Shmoi. However lofty the level of Shmoi is, still in all from Hu, from his very essence to Shmoi, there had to be a tzimtzum. When the Torah was given, instead of just having the revealed parts of the Torah, those parts of the Torah that have to do with Seder Ishtalshalos, what we got is the level of the levels before the Tzimtzum, ad lebchinas yashas chayshach sisra, until the level where it's even the darkness that precedes everything, the level of darkness that's higher than every type of revelation. So he's going to explain this based on the expression that's used in davening, in Ma'ariv, that we say as follows. We could say, this is what we say in davening in Ma'ariv. He like rolls away the light before the darkness, and the darkness he moves away before the light. This is talking about the general idea about how night and day works. The day light is moved away, and then the night comes along. The night leaves and day comes. So Chassidus explains that this is referring to the interactions of revelations versus tzimtzum. But the Rebbe is going to say there's the way Chassidus ordinarily talks about it, and then there's a deeper way how we could speak about it in our mind. So he says, line 10, the intention in this phrase, not only like it's explained in a different place, the meaning of this. First Hashem rolls away, moves on the side, the Ein Sof, the infinite light of Hashem that filled all possible space, to make a tzimtzum. So that's Goylel Oir Mepnei Choshech. He moves away the light, so the darkness should be, so the tzimtzum should be. And then V'choshech HaTzimtzum Mipnei Oir HaKav. He moves away the darkness. In other words, he gets rid of that darkness. So now there should be light, and the light is the light of the Kav. That is the way it's brought down in other places in Chassidus. The Chassidus explanation of Goylel Oir Nechoshech V'choshech Mnei Oir. The Rebbe is going to take this to a deeper level in regards to what we were talking about, how in the Oir and Sof Shel Lifnei HaTzimtzum there are many tzimtzumim, all the way to the level of Yashas Choshech Sisrei, that Hashem's very essence is to be found in this darkness, in this first tzimtzum. So he says on line 13, even more so, the Goylel Oir Mepnei Choshech means, that what does it mean? He rolls away the light for the darkness. Where and how does the light come about? How does one draw down the light? It comes from the darkness that's higher than the oir, meaning every oir needs to have a choshech that preceded it, needs to have a tzimtzum. Even the highest level of light that came from Hashem's essence, he had to place the darkness as his hiding place, he had to have the tzimtzum, so that we should be able to have the light. So that's what it means, Goylel Oir Mepnei Choshech, that you need to have this light as only can be as a result of the Choshech, of Yashas Choshech Sisra, of the first tzimtzum after Atzmos. Now, once we know this, so line 16, he goes on, according to this introduction and according to this preface, that the novelty of the giving of the Torah was a revelation that he placed the darkness' hiding place. In other words, Matan Torah reached all the way to the highest level, even in Tzimtzum Arishan, even before the Tzimtzum Arishan, to the most highest level. Now will be understood why prior to Matan Torah there had to be that Yisro gave thanks. It says in the pasuk V'reisi ani I saw sheyesh yisron l'chacham marasichlus, that there's an advantage to wisdom over foolishness. Ki yisron ha'or ma'achayshach, like light has an advantage and greatness over darkness. Umevuar hapirish b'zeh, top of page Yud Ches. Let's explain the explanation. This is the yisron ha'or hu min ha'chayshach dafke, the advantage and greater light. Yisron much means more. The greater light is from out of the darkness, not Yisron Oir al HaChoshech, that there's the advantage of light over darkness, but the advantage and the greatness of light is out of the darkness itself. When do you have a greater light? When do you have additional light? When do you have a more powerful light? When you refine the darkness, so then the light increases exponentially. In a similar vein, how there's that relationship between light and darkness, is the advantage and greatness of Chachma when it's extracted from and transformed from foolishness. From the foolishness itself becomes the addition and increase in Chachma, more so than if you wouldn't have the foolishness. Just like the light is so much more only after and from the darkness than if you wouldn't have had the darkness. The meaning of the word foolishness over here cannot mean in the literal sense. Because then, what is it coming to tell you? There's an advantage of wisdom over out of foolishness. In other words, we're not talking about just ordinary foolishness of Klippa, but we're talking about something that relates to Chachma de Kedusha. The intention over here is foolishness that is comparable and is in some way on a similar scale, if you will, of Chachma of Kedusha. Like it's explained in the continuation of the Maimer of the Rebbe Rashab that we were referring to before, that the Shesichlis and Chachmas Chetzonius, what is it referring to with Yisna Chacham and Asichlis? We're talking about external wisdoms. We're talking about the wisdoms of the world, the sciences, and so on and so forth. When it cross Sichlus. And why are they called foolishness? Seemingly they're not foolishness. They make sense. You use them. You could be, to a certain degree, use them even in some situations for Kedusha. So he says, like it's known the difference between the Chachma of Kedusha versus Chachma de Klippa. The Chachma de Kedusha hu bittul, the wisdom of Kedusha, entails and expresses and brings a person to a state of bittul. The Chachma de Klippa hu tachlis hayeshes, and the Chachma of Klippa is the ultimate ego. When a person is wise in worldly matters, so this brings to ego, and it stokes his ego, and therefore v'chiv in the Chachma de Klippa mevil yeshes, since Chachma of Klippa brings to ego v'chol gei shoita, and we know anyone who is arrogant is a fool, as the pasuk says. Therefore, he is called. I'm sorry, it's not a pasuk, but it's an expression. Therefore, it's called foolishness. So, Chachma de Klippa or Chacham Chetzonius is called foolishness for this reason. But what happens when you are mevarer it, when you refine it? Just like we said before, that light increases when it comes out of the birur of the Choshech. So too over here with Chacham de Kedusha, through the refinement of the foolishness, meaning the Chacham of Klippa, Nasa Yisra in the Chacham de Kedusha becomes an increase and an addition to Chacham of holiness. That is the praise of Yisra and the thankfulness of Yisra, that he said, now I know that Hashem is the greatest of all. So Chazal say, what do we derive from it? Why does it say the word Ata Yadaiti, now I know? Because he was a very intellectual person. and he investigated intellectually all different types of beliefs. Ki Yisrei Avodas Kol Avodah Zarah Sheba'olam, Yisrei served all types of Avodah Zarah in the world. Shezeu Inyan Chachma de Klippa, that's the wisdom of Klippa. He was using his mind to try to figure out what's the best, and what's the highest, and so on, what makes most sense. Through his praising and giving thanks to Hashem, and through admitting and accepting Hashem, that with this became an increase and an addition of Chachma de Kedusha and the light of Kedusha, like Yisr Na'ira B'Min HaChoshech, like the increase in light that comes when we are refining the darkness. And with this, now we can explain how come through Yisro's thanks and recognition became the revelation of Matan Torah, which we left off yesterday with that question. Because the revelation of the giving of the Torah was from the level that he placed darkness as his hiding place. This Yashas Chayshach Sisra, this Tzimtzum, this total concealment of higher than the Tzimtzum Arishan, that is the source and that is the essence that gives and adds to the light being increased. And when do I tap into that level of darkness that's beyond light? That we said it's necessary. The level only beyond light can bridge the gap between Elyonim and Tachtonim. That's when we deal with the beyond, with the lower than light down here, with the darkness down here below. The revelation of this level of Yoshas Choshech Sisrei above, of the highest level of Tzimtzumim before Seder Ishtalshlus, comes when we are dafkid through Bir HaChoshech, dafkid when we refine the darkness down here below. That's the advantage and increase of light that comes out of the darkness. The addition in the light, the increase in the light, is from the darkness. That's even higher and precedes the light. That he places hiding place in darkness. When the light results from the darkness in the simple sense, in the literal sense, that the things that are dark down here becomes transformed to light, through that becomes an addition, an increase in the light, that is drawn down from the darkness of the level that he made darkness his hiding place. Top of page Yutes. This is also the reason why it says the priest of Midian, the father-in-law of Moshe. That we ask, seemingly these are contradictory. On the one hand, you're saying Chaysen Moshe, meaning he's his father-in-law, he's higher than him. On the other hand, you're bringing up the most negative thing about him, that he's a priest of Midian. Also in these two things is hinted the advantage and the addition of the light out of the darkness and the wisdom out of foolishness. When we say the priest of Midian, the father-in-law of Moshe, it means this very idea that he was a priest of Midian. He was the level of Chachma of Klippa, and he was the level of ego, like we said before, that Chachma de Klippa is not like in Kedusha where it's Bittel, but it's Yeshus. Midian is also from the expression of arguments and disputes and fighting around, which is Tachlis HaYeshus, the ultimate level of ego. Why do disputes occur? Because of ego, like the Rebbe Rashab speaks at great length in the Maimer Cholzu. So instead, the Kohen Midian, the one who is the total level of ego, the total level of Chacham de Klippa, Nepach L'Tachos HaIlu, he becomes transformed to the most highest level, Shenasa Chaysen Moshe, that he becomes the father-in-law of Moshe, the Chaysen Humelashain Chus Dargam. In Aramaic, chus which is related to the word chosen, is descending a level. So he becomes the chosen of Moshe, meaning the chosen Moshe perusha sheyisrin Paul inyan hayirida chusdarge binyan shel Moshe. Yisroi affected and caused there should be the descent of the level in the matter of Moshe. Only through that was able to be the giving of the Torah. The descent he caused that the ones above should be able to descend below. Again, like we said before, because only when you transform the darkness into light, you tap into that higher darkness that can bridge the gap between the two. Moshe is the intermediary between Yidden and Hashem. Ben Yisrael the Torah, or he's the intermediary and he joins Yidden and Torah. Moshe on his own is very high. Moshe costs, like it says, that I drew him out of the level of water, and the water goes on the highest, most levels, either Chachma, Datzilis, or even higher than that. That's beyond the world. And still in all, so Moshe should be able to descend and be able to become a link between Hashem and the Yidden, and become a link between the Torah and the Yidden. This was through Yisro. Like it's brought down the Medrash that while Yisro was still in Midian, he nullified the Avodah Zarah. V'zanified Moshe, and Moshe also was the one that affected it. Meaning, Moshe so that Moshe should be able to influence Yisro, and that Yisro should be mevat l'Avodah Zarah. There had to be by Moshe Rabbeinu the idea of descending a level. So Moshe descended, caused by Yisro, that he was mevat l'Avodah Zarah. So now Yisro in turn caused by Moshe a descent. That also now affected Moshe Rabbeinu, that he should be able to be an intermediary in the giving of the Torah. That's why now Yisro became transformed to be even higher than Moshe. Like the advantage and the greatness of the light out of the darkness, and the advantage of wisdom out of foolishness. Now he's going to go back to what we spoke about, that what Yisro heard and brought into Matan Torah. This is what Rashi explained. That what did Yisro hear that caused him to come? He heard about the splitting of the sea, the Hainu, the Haidas, Yisro, top of page Chaf. That Yisro's thanks and so on came about by the Kriyas Yamsuf. Gam in Kriyas Yamsuf toichna hu kriyas ubkias kol hatzimtzumim. What's the idea of the splitting of the sea? It's also the idea of tearing apart and breaking through all constrictions, just like the waters cover and hide everything in it. The splitting of it open means that now it becomes revealed, and now they see dry land where everything is revealed. Though ordinarily when we talk about Yamsuf, the splitting open of the Yamsuf is referring to Malchus. Why? Because Suf is from the word Soif, the end. It's the end of all the spheres of Atzilus, the end of all the levels. So why do we say it's all the Tzimtzumim, even to the levels of highest levels of Tzimtzumim, when we know Kriyas Yamsuf is the level of Malchus? Mikol Mokum still know a lot of Yedu, Maimer Azal, it's known with Chazal say Shabakriyas Yamsuf Nivku Kolam Meimus Shaba Olam, that by the splitting of the sea it wasn't just that the sea split, but also all the waters of the world, and wherever it was, split as well. Moving from saying just like in the physical world all the waters split, this means also throughout the entire Seder Ishtalshlus, it wasn't just limited to Malchus. Gam b'chlolos Ishtalshlus, also in the general Seder Ishtalshlus, Sha'az Nifku Kol Tzimtzumim V'Mesachim V'Prasos, then all constrictions and curtains and coverings were all split open. Even those that are higher than the first Tzimtzum, and even higher than the infinite light of Hashem, higher and higher to no end. This also affected that also Yisrei, which is Chachma of Klippa, that's the ultimate Yeshus that conceals and covers over, also that was transformed to light. Let's just finish the Maimer. וישמע Yisrei Chayin Bidin Chayim Moshe Kol Sh'Asol Kim LaMoshe Yisrael Amik Ki Hoitzi Hashem Yisrael Mitzrayim. We said there's a whole bunch of things over here going on in this pasuk. Day, top of page Chaf Aleph, Agilu the Kriyas Yamsuf, through the revelation of the splitting of the sea. Shaz Nivku calls him Sumim, then all constrictions were split open. Until it came down this revelation in vessels and garments and chambers. So then Yisrei was transformed. That originally he was involved, he was the priest of Midian, the Chachma of Klippa, Yashus, and foolishness. He became Lias Chaysen Moshe, he became the one that caused Moshe to descend, like the advantage and greatness of light over the darkness. This is affected afterwards the revelation of the giving of the Torah. Should be the revelation that he placed darkness in his hiding place, way down below in this low world. The Torah is everlasting, to such a degree that there's the giving of the Torah every single day. Like it's explained, look at the Torah, what the Chazal say, just like then, by Matan Torah, we were in fear and trembling and so on, all the different expressions of fear and shaking, etc. So we have to do that now as well. How can we do that now as well? So the Alter Rebbe explains, because we are experiencing Matan Torah every day as well. In the Matan Torah, because also at present, there's the idea of the giving of the Torah. Now this idea is concealed. Also, when Mashiach comes, it will become revealed how Matan Torah is every single day. Till it's revealed with understanding, comprehension. Like it says, and the glory of Hashem will become revealed, and all flesh will see together that the mouth of Hashem spoke. The true and complete redemption through Mashiach, and our joy and gladness.